So just need to go. No, we weren't in Missouri City. We knew we were coming here today. And then we went to their reflection.
Are we ready to start this party? Welcome everyone.
So what time?
We are live on YouTube, so if you like to share with others, you can let them know that they can go to Join Jack Study YouTube channel and watch us live. We're also live on Instagram, and my phone is perfect, so someone please. Because that's the only thing that is wrong with it. My phone. Thank you. Everybody found their seat because there are seats with your name on it.
Because you can see right here. See how it's
displayed. If you like, there, I think right next to Mr.
She wants this to
Bayat,
display, not just her. Right, we need to have the presentation right there. Yeah,
the front.
that's good.
All right.
We get
Great.
cards, so okay, that's a good sign.
Before anything, we're going to get started with a prayer. So if you don't mind silencing your phone. Thank you.
Let us begin with the prayer revealed by Abdul Baha from the Baha'i writings. O thou kind Lord, thou hast created all humanity from the same stock. Thou hast decreed that all shall belong to the same household. In thy holy presence, they are all thy servants, and all mankind are sheltered beneath thy tabernacle. All have gathered together at thy table of bounty, and all are illumined through the light of thy providence. O God, thou art kind to all. Thou hast provided for all. Thou shelter all, confers life upon all. Thou hast endowed each and all with talents and faculties, and all are submerged in the ocean of thy mercy. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree and make the nations one, so that they may see each other as one family and the whole earth as one home. May they all live together in perfect harmony. O God, raise aloft the banner of the oneness of mankind. O God, establish the most great peace. Cement thou, O God, the hearts together. O thou kind Father, gladden our hearts through the fragrance of thy love. Brighten our eyes through the light of thy guidance. Delight our ears with the melody of thy word, and shelter us all in the stronghold of thy providence. Thou art the mighty and powerful. Thou art the forgiving, and thou art the one who overlooketh the shortcomings of all mankind.
Thank you, Chaz. I hope everyone enjoyed the prayer. It definitely resonates with all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and members of our community, good afternoon. Equal Human Rights Organization and the Baha'i Faith of Houston welcomes you to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I am honored to stand before you as a proud Baha'i and the founder and president of Equal Human Rights Organization, an organization dedicated to promoting human rights, equality, understanding, and compassion. I was born and raised in Iran, a country with a rich cultural heritage, insightful poetry, and the historical figure Cyrus the Great. Cyrus was the first person ever to proclaim human rights, treating men and women of all races and religions equally. His approach toward migrants and all races living under his ruling in Persia is a testament to the inclusivity we strive for, fostering representation from all religions and races. The United Nations has declared the Cyrus Cylinder to be an ancient declaration of human rights. Since 1971, after they were given a replica by the sister of the late Shah of Iran. There is a replica at the Houston Police Department Museum, which was gifted by Equal Human Rights Organization in September. Today, we gather here to shed light on the mission of Equal Human Rights Organization, emphasizing the importance of unity and equal treatment for all. Our intention is to create a safe and welcoming space for open dialogue, understanding, and continuous collaboration. As we move forward with today's program, please take a moment to silence your phones and be respectful of each other's time. Let's keep our discussions focused on human rights, steering clear of politics, as refugee states are often the result of human rights violations. I'd like to draw attention to the impact of forced migration. It's disheartening to think about the countless children missing out on a proper education and childhood while attending the school of life in refugee camps. As they learn survival skills, mourn the loss of their loved ones, and face an uncertain future. We must reflect on the delayed progress and inventions humanity experiences due to forced migration and human rights violations such as religion, gender, and racial oppression and discrimination. In the spirit of fostering understanding and advocating for human rights, let us embark on today's program with open hearts and minds. Together, we can make a meaningful difference and contribute to a more inclusive and compassionate world. Rumi once said, "Not the one speaking the same language, but the one sharing the same feeling understand one another." Now today we do have a proclamation from our city. I'm very honored to have our council member Abby Kamen here. I'm gonna read your bio because we gotta do that. Council member Abby Kamen, a native Estonian, brings legal expertise from Tulane University and American University's Washington College of Law to her role on Houston City Council since 2019. As former Associate Regional Director of the Anti-Defamation League, she championed civil rights and community partnerships. With a legislative background, she addressed Texas foster care crisis as committee director for the Texas House Human Services Committee. Currently chairing the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee, she actively contributes to committees focusing on budget and fiscal affairs, childhood and youth economic development, and ethics, elections, and council governance, driving impactful change for a safer and more equitable Houston. Please help me welcome our council member Abby Kamen to honor us by presenting the proclamation to celebrate Houston for the 75th anniversary of human rights.
I grabbed the proclamation so I could read it, but before I do that, stand with me. I just wanted to say what a privilege and honor it is to be here with you all, especially this evening. And you'll forgive me, I'm always a little nervous because the Baha'i faith holds such a special place in my heart. And so to be here before you all means something to me, especially in this time throughout our world. Many of us are focusing not only on the Middle East, but Sudan, Ukraine, the list goes on. But here in Houston, the fact that we have the pleasure to commemorate, I think this is the official event commemorating the 75th anniversary, 75 years of declaring Human Rights Day. So I am here to present this proclamation, but I want to thank Danya, the Equal Human Rights Organization, but also the Baha'i Faith of Houston, and my dear friends and partners, for what you stand for in our community. Not only for the diversity that is Houston, because without inclusion, we're missing true diversity. And your beliefs are very, very similar to mine, and I'm of the Jewish faith, in the oneness not only of all of humanity, but the oneness of the universe and the interconnectedness that we all share. And as the prayer was read, the words of home and household and shelter and our family. And unless all refugees are, I want to say all refugees are welcome, but until this world no longer has refugees, we will keep working towards that, but the emphasis on all one family today, I truly appreciate just that. So with that, I will read the proclamation. Whereas the City of Houston celebrates Human Rights Day, acknowledging the fundamental principles of equality, justice, and dignity for every individual. Human Rights Day commemorates the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations General Assembly on December 10, 1948, promoting peace, understanding, and cooperation among nations. Houston, a city renowned for its diversity and inclusivity, stands as a beacon of hope, fostering unity and acceptance among its vibrant communities. On this significant day, we honor the contribution of human rights activists, nonprofits, and city officials who tirelessly work to uphold the values of equality, freedom, and compassion. Through education, dialogue, and community engagement, we continue to build a society where every individual's rights are respected and protected, regardless of race, gender, religion, or nationality. The City of Houston calls upon all citizens to recognize the importance of human rights, embrace the diversity that enriches our community, and stand united in the pursuit of justice and a compassionate world. Therefore, I, Abby Kamen, on behalf of Mayor Sylvester Turner, Mayor of the City of Houston, do hereby proclaim December 10th, 2023 as Human Rights Day in Houston, Texas. Mayor Turner sends all of his best and appreciates the meaningful dialogue that is about to take place. Okay, we'll do some pictures. Do you all want to come up? Yes, we have. What do you want?
Now, Equal Human Rights is honored to present a certificate to Abby Clement for her unwavering commitment to the pursuit of justice, equality, and human dignity. And this is not just for this event. She has been involved in the events that I have been honored to put together to bring justice, awareness, and education, not just on the topic of human rights, but also women. The fact that women are not a minority. They are half the world's population and they should be treated as such. So I am honored to present you a certificate. If you can please come up and take a picture with us. I think by now everybody knows my name, so I'm gonna put it away. In case I get lost, fine. All right, I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker. Oh, before I do that, something of program is that we have a representative from Office of Congressman Al Green, presenting us with the certificate.
My name is Brian. I'm here on behalf of Congressman Al Green. Unfortunately, he's not making today, but he's saying on his behalf. We have two certificates here for the Baha'i, I believe that's how you say it, or how you say it, the Baha'i Faith of Houston, as well as Human Rights Organization. And it reads, in honor of your service to the community, on behalf of the constituents of the 9th Congressional District of Texas, I salute your commitment to enhance the awareness and understanding of human rights, as well as your dedication to develop actionable solutions to improve community engagement across the greater Houston area.
Thank you so much. Congressman Al Green is going to be here. I have a certificate. So we're gonna take a picture with both of those. And can I have the representatives from the Baha'i Faith come up, Shaz, please? Any assembly member? Nothing. Thank you so much. Okay, yes, all right. Nobody ever tells me I'm not loud. But this time. Okay. So I'm going to, I'm honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Bayat. Dr. Qasim Bayat is a distinguished scientist, petroleum engineer and educator with a PhD in engineering with over 50 years of experience working on petroleum reservoirs globally. He has gained profound insights into diverse cultures and faiths. In various leadership roles, including CEO of an independent oil and gas company in Houston, Dr. Bayat aligns operations with the Baha'i spirit, and environmentally friendly practices. A devoted humanity activist, he lectures on critical topics such as global warming, poverty roots, alternative energy sources, and energy conservation. Dr. Bayat actively promotes Baha'i teachings for a peaceful world through international TV programs and participation in interfaith associations. He advocates for human rights, freedom, refugee rights, and non-aggressive conflict resolutions. I am honored to welcome Dr. Bayat to the stage. Please help me welcome.
Dear friends, I'm honored for this occasion to be here and talking to you. If the expression preaching to the choir was ever meaningful, it's exactly here. Because I believe that every one of you are interested in human rights, in actively pursuing ways and means of achieving human rights for all those around you. Therefore, I'm talking to a group who knows all about the subject. Before I start my talk, I would like to make a single statement that is a statement of faith for me. And that is the next stage in the evolution of mankind is when we recognize the oneness of the human race and our equality. If you really think deep about it, you will find out that that is the remedy to all the problems we have around the world, including abuses of human rights, wars, all kinds. As human race, we don't have a good history. And I have to say that for those of you who've been the student of history, you know that as a human race, we have terrible history. For millennia around the world, we've been fighting each other tooth and nail. But then, First World War came around, when we have the means of communication and transportation, and we started to know what's going on. And the atrocities of the First World War impacted our conscience as human race so much that at least among some nations, the understanding developed that we need to set together an organization that stops such future horrible things to take place. But we were inexperienced. If you've ever watched children learn to walk, they get up a couple of steps, drop, couple of steps, and drop. So the results of the League of Nations that we formed is not that complimentary. Even the country that worked more than anybody else to set it up didn't even join us, and that's our nation. We didn't even bother to join the League of Nations. And for some reason, we realized that the peace treaty of the First World War had in it the seeds of the next, more horrible war. And that happened in the form of Second World War. I don't want to bore you with the statistics. Simply you can imagine that at least 20 million people died in the First World War, and almost 18 million people died in the Second World War. Most of Europe was devastated. They had to be rebuilt. All the way to the gates of Moscow. all over Southeast, all over Eastern Europe. Asia was devastated. China, all Pacific Rim countries, to the extent that the horrors of the first use of nuclear bomb came upon the country of Japan. And hopefully we learned never to do that again. But I'm not sure. As I said, as human beings, we don't have a good track record of learning from our mistakes. You've all seen the statistics that go with the death that First and Second World War brought in. But then what happens after Second World War? Some of our leaders decided that those who were causing it should be punished. Most people who caused it, they were dead by then. But nominally, a few individuals were taken to Nuremberg and tried for crimes against humanity. Maybe satisfy the conscience of some people. But the Second World War was not over before the conflict between the East and West started. And we are still at the claws of that conflict. It hasn't left us. We formed the United Nations with a great deal of hope. A great deal of hope. What we hoped was, as a result of what we experienced collectively in the world, we're going to have an organization that wouldn't let such things happen again. And going beyond that, the world decided that maybe we need to know who we are and what rights we possess, so that others cannot easily come and walk away, take our rights away from us. So exactly 75 years ago, on a day like today, 10th of December, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was signed by a great number of countries that at that time were members of the United Nations. It was spearheaded, guess what? Not your wonderful lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, who was very familiar with the highlighting. And she put together a committee of 18 distinguished individuals from across the world, across the cultures and religions, and they put together a document that every one of us could be proud of it. It's called Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And if you haven't seen it, please get a copy of it. Acquaint yourself, your children, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues with it. Because without the realization of what that document says, very easily our rights could be taken away from us. So if there is a serious educational gap that exists in the world, is the recognition and understanding of what these rights as individuals we have. And out of the nations those days, 8 of them abstained from rights, from signing it. They didn't decline it, they abstained. And you know why? Because in this document it talks about things that those nations and some after them couldn't tolerate. Freedom of them. Freedom of faith is another one. The right to choose your faith for yourself is another one. To end persecution of others and cruel punishment of others in various names. They couldn't stop those. So those are the countries that have come up with their own versions of what human rights are all about. Of course, in the midst of that, you are at the Houston Baha'i Center, so I can feel free to tell you. There was one group that took up that document as a matter of faith. Not just as an intellectually good document to carry, but as a matter of faith. because the Baha'is believe in this document. Practically every sentence of that, you can back it up with writings from the Baha'i faith, predating it by something like 70, 80 years. So we are the ones who really believe in it and doing our best to see what we can do. But we need help. We need help to promote this document and what it stands for. I'm not going to take you through the slide I have here because the prayer that you heard in the beginning tells it all. Why we believe in this document. Why we think these are important things to do. So, moving on to the document itself. All right. Somebody needs to help me to initiate that slide, and that's it. If you haven't had time to read this document, it's made up of 30, 40 articles. It takes maybe an hour or two to read it. But at least read the preamble. The preamble of this document tells us what is it about. In this preamble, we read that this declaration, DHI, recognizes the inherent dignity and inalienable rights of the human beings as the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. That's what it's all about. It promotes freedom of speech, belief, and freedom from fear and want for all. Isn't that what we want? It intends to stop tyranny and oppression, which we have plenty of it all over the world, of all kinds of it, but replace it by the rule of law. And it promotes friendly relations between nations. If I was around with the writing of the preamble, I would have said, instead of friendly relations, I would have turned it to a loving relation. We need to love each other to truly have good relationships, not just be friendly. But I understand it's written from a European perspective that we like to keep a distance. That's fine. But in America, we all hug each other. Any day that I don't get at least 10 hugs, I feel I lost something. It's good that we do that. Not that instead of raising your hand to keep a distance from the next one, but shaking hands. It stands for dignity of human persons. That's what we need. We need to recognize the dignity of each other. Equal rights of women. God, eventually we got it. Looks like it took us a long time to recognize equality of women with men. But eventually we recognize it. Okay, we've lost a few thousand years, but it's not a bad start. But we have to make sure that we practice it. Please don't take for a moment that equality rights of women with men is accepted and practiced in most of the world. That's not the case. And here we are not perfect either. We have a long way to go. But it's a good start. Now, that we've talked about the preamble, I need to go backward. Okay. We need now to go and talk about what do we mean by a refugee. The pictures we see on television, they are not very glamorous. They are not very kind often. Even reporters are not that kind. If you see what's going on around our southern borders, it's not a pleasant, kind situation. Lots of children and women. Because they want a better life. They have fear of where they are. So a refugee is simply someone who has been forced to flee his or her home or country because of persecution, war, and violence. I'm sorry to say by what's going on right now in Ukraine and in Palestine, we see a lot of images that really crushes our hearts. It's hard to watch. Regardless of who is right and who is wrong. You see, the human rights is not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about the dignity of the individuals. We don't care why and how we ended up where we are. That's the stuff of history. The issue is, what do we do with it now? And that's not what we get from television pictures. A refugee has a well-founded fear of persecution for race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. As a member of the Baha'i faith, I am deeply aware of the persecution of Baha'is in Iran. Half a million people. They have no rights to go to university. They have even no rights to keep their businesses running. They cannot work for government. Even their dead are not easy there. So persecution is a terrible thing in the world. And being as diverse group as we are here, I'm absolutely sure from whatever race or group of people, wherever in the world you come from, you have such experiences as mine. So you can relate to what I say. Most likely, these refugees cannot return home or are afraid to do so. It's very easy to say they are economical refugees, they want a better life. But that's part of the story. Who doesn't want a better life? So why we exclude refugees from wanting a better life? Amongst us, is there anyone who doesn't want to have a better life for his or her kids? Children, better education, better potential for the future. So let's make sure we are not deceived by the words that are used. War and ethnic, tribal, religious violence are leading causes of refugees fleeing their countries. I would like to state very clearly that we are conscious and aware of what causes refugees in the first place. But we are not in any position where we are to change that or impact that. So the meeting today is not about what caused these refugees to come. We cannot touch that. It's way beyond our means and our abilities. Of course, through our congressmen and through institutions we should do our best to get to the root causes and ask our governments to influence it and so on. But things we are in. That's not what we can discuss. Why there are so many Palestinians, so many Ukrainians, so many people are illegal in refugee camps. Some 108 million people have had to flee their homes. So in numbers, small numbers, not small numbers. What's the population of Texas? 40 million? Yeah. 108 million? And some 35 million in the world are refugees, and I'm sure today the number is significantly more. And sad to know that 41% at least of these refugees are children. And majority of them are women. I promise I'm not going to bore you with statistics, but sometimes to understand the gravity of the problem and know how serious it is, we need to know some numbers because you're used to having numbers. If something that isn't that number, you make a qualitative statement. Look at it here. 35 million refugees, 29 million under UN mandate to be looked after. 6 million Palestinian refugees today. 62 million internally displaced people who may equally be in a terrible condition. 5 million asylum seekers, and we have a lot of them in our shores too. Where do they come from? I don't want to give you the list of all of them. These are the major ones. The major countries that are keeping these refugees and receiving them are countries like Turkey, Iran, Colombia, Germany, Pakistan. You see, out of all that list, only one of them is a Western European country. The rest are the third world, themselves have to take care of those refugees. And where do they come from, these refugees? These are just a few of them, but they come from everywhere. Because persecution of people is a common disease of the human race. You see, it took us a long time to understand what family is. After that, apparently, we moved to the idea of tribe, and city-state, and nation-state. But many of us, intellectually, mentally, emotionally, are still at a family level. And these are way beyond that. Syria, Ukraine, Afghanistan, and there are plenty more of those going on. If we cannot feel for a refugee the way we feel for our children or our grandchildren, I tell you very bluntly, there is something wrong with our conscience. The next time we see movies, reports, if we don't feel the pain of these people, there is something seriously wrong with us, and we have to get ourselves examined, not by anybody else, by ourselves. Ask ourselves, what's wrong with me? That child or that young girl who are refugees, how different are they from my own family? I would like to take you through just a few of the articles. Please change that for a moment. I'm going to take you through a few of the articles out of the 30, 40 articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that touches upon the subject, are relevant to what you heard from me. Article 1, the most important, it says, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. All right, brotherhood is better than friendly, but still it's not doing the job. One day I hope we can get that change. Article 2 says, all are entitled, these are good about, are entitled to all rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind. So the moment we start making distinctions, there's something wrong with our understanding. The document says without any distinction, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political, or other opinions, natural or social origin, property, birth, or other status. In that other status, I call it nationality, country of place where one lives. Article 3, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the security of person. Remind us of the Declaration of the United States what do we call it? Articles of Constitution of the United States that says everybody is entitled to what? Liberty, life, and pursuit of happiness. Right? And we shouldn't be depriving others of that. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Remember, probably the days of slavery in most of the world is gone, but industrial slavery is still there. And in some ways, it's far worse than that physical slavery that used to be there. If every one of us lived from one paycheck to another, that's slavery. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination. The reason why I read only those 5 articles of the UDHR for me was to say that basically it doesn't make any distinction. Those distinctions are coming later. Refugees of this place or that place, it doesn't matter. That article does not separate them. Now, I would like to refer to the only article in this charter that directly and specifically talks about the refugees. It reads, everyone has the right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. You see that? It's a right that the United Nations signed by all nations, including ours, and given to everyone on earth to seek asylum in any country. We have not that liberty to say you have to put a wall and stop people, whether it's Europe or whether it's here. Everyone has the right to the nationality. So suppose the refugees come. We cannot keep them for 20 years and not give them nationality. What does that mean? No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. The next slide, please. Dear friends, I started by saying that my talk is like preaching to the choir, because I know you need all of this, because I know you're activists in these areas. That's why you're here. Those who aren't here. But I would like to emphasize that we cannot tackle the root causes of refugee. We are going to have a panel discussion. If you ask me, what should we do about this country or that country to stop this, to stop that, well, it's a non-starter. It's not anything about it. But of course, there's something we can do. And that is, now that they are here at our doorsteps, what do we do about it? Are we opening our homes, our churches, our synagogues, our mosques, our social places to them to come and have a comfortable life until our administrators, politicians decide what they are going to do with them or not? I'm very grateful for your listening. I hope I didn't say anything that caused you any concern. Have a great day. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. I have the slides so you guys want to take pictures. I sell it. All right. I've heard a complaint about me being on the stage too much, so just kidding. There is never a complaint. All right. It did take me an hour to start joking, so that's good. Last time it only took me 4 minutes. Okay. And guess what? It's been an hour into the event. I haven't even cried. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? That is the first, but the night is young. I'm going to introduce the topic for the panel. Dr. Mayat gave it away, but So thank you so much for your beautiful and insightful speech. Today's topic is refugee, the respect of the human rights of the refugees. Just like you mentioned, it's all about dignity. And how we can help our own city of Houston with the refugee influx that it's had over the last few years. I am a refugee myself, so. With that said, I will introduce our panel moderator, Mr. Kamran Mozoon. Mr. Kamran Mozoon is an architect. He practices in Houston, and he often advocates for the human rights and refugee rights. With that said, he's going to take it with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Donya. Before introducing the panel, I've been interested in finding out who were those 8 countries that actually did not sign the UN Declaration.
I have a list. I actually mentioned that on Fox 26. So,
Okay.
yes, we have a list.
Yes. So, yes, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Saudi Arabia, Soviet Union, Belarus, Ukraine, South Africa, and Yugoslavia. These are the original countries. At the time of the 1948, UN had only 58 members. So 8 who did not participate in the league was 50 countries. And at present time, UN has 193 members. Out of which the newest member as of 2023 is South Sudan. That's interesting information to know. In the panel today, interestingly, all women, so one of the great men are staying behind. We have, I'd like to introduce, I will of course read the bios and then as a setup for them to be present on the stage to address questions that will be based on talk today. Ms. Samantha Del Bosque from Tahrir Justice Center. Samantha Del Bosque is a University of Houston Law Center graduate, where she participated in the immigration law clinic. She joined the Tahrir Justice Center in April 2012, representing those who are fleeing gender-based violence. Prior to working with Tahrir, she worked with Catholic Charities of Houston and Galveston. Samantha currently serves as a local asylum liaison for the Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico chapter of AILA. Next, we have Ms. Angelica Rubles, who is an author and an FBI agent. Angelica is a former undercover agent, Forbes published author, and award-winning motivational speaker. She is a founder of Adewar Investigative Group, specializing in case evaluation and expert witness services. With over 17 years of experience, Angelica is a seasoned investigator with expertise in criminal interviewing and federal level interrogations. As a mindset coach, executive producer, and Hollywood movie deal expert, she now inspires others to achieve their goals. I always wonder if these people have time for breakfast or lunch. Zed Minale is a refugee herself and works for Migrant and Refugee Leadership Academy as a director. Zed, a former Ethiopian refugee, has dedicated decades to refugee advocacy. Zed contributed 10 years to the African Refugee and Immigration Services in St. Louis, later joined the Alliance for Multicultural Services. Currently, she serves as co-director at the Migrant and Refugee Leadership Academy. Driven by her passion for aiding displaced communities. Ms. Nilofar Mateen, who is coming from Austin. She is a refugee from Afghanistan. Nilofar is a very beautiful flower. In English, it's lilies. So of course, we have a variety of lilies, as you know. Nilofar is born in Kabul, Afghanistan, and having lived in Iran, India, and the United States for 23 years. Is a passionate human rights activist. She serves as a TV host of the NRF Women Program and is dedicated member of the Women's National Resistance Front. Nilufar, along with her colleagues, has been tirelessly working for the past 2 years to aid the people of Afghanistan, focusing particularly on securing basic rights for women and children. Then we have from Interfaith Refugee Services, Ms. Paravina Laxmanan, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, I hope. Okay. Paravina is a community engagement program manager at the Interfaith Ministry for Greater Houston. Is a seasoned advocate for migrants, refugees, and underserved populations. With expertise in migration and gender issues, she manages the initiative for both the refugee, women, and men's program as well as volunteers. So I would like to welcome the panel on stage.
Dr. Wyatt, you're also on the panel. Yes. You're not off the hook list yet. Yes. This was completely accidental. I don't know, this keeps happening.
Nothing accidental about having working with justice.
What is it?
There's nothing.
We're trying to balance it. We're trying to
working with justice.
50% of the whole population is women, but here it's only one man.
He's enough. He's enough for he's covering all the other men.
I think we men need to really get a lesson from this. As you can actually see, women are taking strides for improvement on the worldwide stage. Actually, when women take a major role in arena of decision making, the world peace becomes more possible. So my first question would be to Ms. Samantha Del Bosque. Most of Baha'is know very well about Baha'i Justice Center and what they do worldwide. As we know, the Charter states that recognition of inherent dignity and inalienable rights of human beings is what basically the Charter states. I would like to know, what does the Baha'i Justice Center do to restore respect for human rights?
Good afternoon. It's my honor to be here. I recognize some people. I've been working at the Baha'i Justice Center for almost 12 years. I'm a staff attorney. I'm a supervising attorney now, but I started as a staff attorney. So my role at the Baha'i Justice Center is to represent immigrants who have suffered gender-based violence. So by definition, most of my clients are women also. Gender-based violence is violence that happens to women because they are women or disproportionately to women, so domestic violence, etc. So at the Baha'i Justice Center, we kind of work on a really small slice, right? That as we heard, human rights and violations of human rights just kind of run this entire spectrum, right? And we work on our small slice, which is abuse of people because of their gender. So while most of our clients are women, we of course have representatives of men because men are also victims of gender-based violence at smaller rates, but yet. And what we do is we use the laws of the United States, which, by the way, most of them come from this Declaration of Human Rights and the Convention, the Geneva Conventions, etc., that all came about at the same time. And we take these laws and we use them to bring safety, dignity, in the form of legal status to the people we represent. That is our basic mission. Right? At its core, we are a legal organization. We also work with social workers to make sure that while our clients go through the very complicated and a very inhumane justice system that we are given, that they are supported in other ways, right? Through housing, referrals to other organizations. We work with other organizations in Houston that can provide support to our clients while they go through what is often a very traumatic experience. To sort of pick up on some of the things that we've heard before, refugees and asylees, there's a small difference. The difference in our legal system, the United States legal system, right? In the world, there's really no difference. And actually, there isn't a difference in definition, right? It is somebody outside of their country of nationality who cannot or will not return to their country because they will suffer persecution, right? That's the basic definition. The difference is refugees are people who maybe get status, refugee status from the UN, and then come to the United States with that status already. And when they come here, they are entitled to some benefits, and there are organizations that help them resettle, etc. Asylees, exactly the same definition. And those are people who are outside of their country of origins, they're afraid to go home, they've been persecuted, or they will be persecuted. But they don't have status when they come to the United States, right? So the people that you see at the border in the news, those are asylum seekers. They're here to seek asylum. They're basically the same people that we call refugees, but because they don't have that piece of paper from the UN or whatever other national or international organization, they are not treated in the same way. They're subject to detention. Family detention is not as prevalent as it used to be, but a few years ago, we also on the news, families being separated, children away from their parents. I went there at the border, a lot of people from Tahoe went to the detention centers and to give advice to the people whose children had been taken away that very day. It was just very inhumane. Those are the types of things that we do in addition to going to court with our clients and filing asylum applications, etc. So people who have come here without that status are called asylum seekers. Those are the people that are usually not welcome, the people that are pushed back, pushed away. Many of our clients have tried to come in the United States several times, finally made it, have lost family members along the way, and all of them have survived things that many of us cannot even imagine. And they're amazing people. And we do a very small part. We help them through a very small slice of their journey, and we're very proud to do that.
We have the only FBI representative here, so I guess Samantha will be Angelica will be your position. And I would like to pose a question to you. The Charter of the United Nations intends to stop tyranny and oppression by the rule of law. So I would like to know, how can law restore the refugees' human rights?
That's a loaded question, but thank you so much, and it's a privilege to be here. For me, it boils down to one thing, and it's education and advocacy and implementation. I feel that a lot of people that are involved in human rights know the importance of it, but those that are actually on the ground dealing with refugees and asylums don't even know the basic human rights. And so us as lawmakers, we look at a whole, but then we don't look at the smaller parts, especially what's going on in the border, on our southern borders, is we see them different, and in reality, they should be seen the same. And I think that that's the biggest problem, is that they are already in this country, and we see them as bad, or they're focused on the wrong ideology that they're here for other things other than to live a life away from persecution. So to me, it's very simple because I've worked for the government for 18 years and there is a lack of understanding, there's a lack of education, and there's just a lack of implementation in training and understanding. So, yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Angelica. Thank you very much. Ms. Zed Minade from Ethiopia, question to her would be that the Charter of the United Charter of the United Nations, states that war and ethnic, tribal, and religious violence are the leading cause of refugees in their nations. As we know that Zed is in charge of the academy called Migrant and Refugee Leadership. So my question would be, what does Migrant and Refugee Leadership Academy do to alleviate these problems?
Thank you so much for asking that. We have people from different places that have been here because of fear being in their own countries, persecutions because of the discipline and others. I myself am a refugee. I left Ethiopia for school to Europe, and then probably started there when the king was killed, and then in 1974. So I had to stop everything I was doing, concentrate on getting a job, getting my family at home. They were okay one time, and then whatever it was, and then the next time there wasn't. And then I got married when I got married. And then my husband was involved with his government. He was a medical doctor. He was not a politician, but just because he tried to help others, he was in trouble, so he had to leave, and he couldn't stay there. So we went to another country, and I'm here now. What I'm trying to tell you is that no matter what you do, if they, the government, wherever, find out that you are doing something that they do not approve, that they don't want you to get involved in, then you become targeted. So that is our policy here. The people that I'm working with mostly are women, children, who really are not in a position to make any difference in the government, but because of their ethnicity, because of where they came from. That was the problem. And one ethnicity killing another one is a huge problem, especially if the one that is doing the killing is the majority, especially the president, then the others who are being pursued because of their ethnicity. So we have internally displaced people because of that. There are a lot of killings, burning homes, killing, raping the women, burning the schools. Children go to school, they come home, they have nowhere to go, there is a field. And it is really a very, very sad situation that's happening. No matter what the United Nations says, all those laws are in place, but it hasn't been implemented in those countries. So when we get to the legislative country, for example, coming here, some people don't speak English, this is their first time on, some of them are first time flying. Then when they get here, they are always in a position where they have to learn everything within a short period of time. Without English, we go to work. Kids go to the center. They are placed in schools according to the basic schools according to what they know. And they don't speak the language, so they have a language to go to school. If somebody doesn't escort them, there's a problem. Even though there is transmission of education services are available, they don't know they need to ask for it. So it is ongoing cycle. Being a refugee helps me to help refugees because I myself have been through so much to be here. I have missed my family members, I have missed my country, and coming here was not so quick. But people think that we are here to get jobs, we are here for freedom, and that's not the case. So with Mara, migrant and refugees academy, with my co-host Bernard Andrew, who is a co-director, we help refugees and immigrants to acquire different licenses. They have to be advocates for themselves because there's nobody here to advocate for them. So we do teach them advocacy. If the apartment is leaking, if the workplace is something that they kind of do, if they go to the hotel, they don't get the things that they need to, we tell them that you have the right to speak. In our countries, we don't have the right to speak. The government says something, we are afraid of people in uniform because our leaders always come in uniform. We will apply where we have a different person who is in charge. So we really advocate that. We teach them how to speak out, how to schools, how to workplace, wherever they are, they have to speak out. And we also know that we are all leaders before they get here. You don't have to be learned to be able to mobilize, to be able to help, to be able to be in your environments. So they are using that same situation to serve our here. So we empower them in that. Somebody has been married, somebody died, somebody's having a baby. There's always one people who are doing that mobilization and help others. So we encourage that and we come up with a program where we see them and talk to them and teach them how to do that advocate for themselves and advocate for others wherever they are and we want to do that. We have the school system, we have in the jails, we have people with substance abuse problems, we have people who do have health problems. So we are always there for one another. Refugees are very, very, very important. We do help a lot with each other. So we do advocacy, we also teach them with further engagement for those who are leaders, for those who have been here and they are citizens, and that we have to advocate for ourselves by choosing our leaders. Leaders who have been good for refugees, leaders who have been good for the schools, leaders who have been good for the healthcare system, and things like that, so that we are very informed voters and not just go and beat somebody. Isn't that there are people that can vote because they are afraid that somebody might be against them voting that. And so those are the kind of things we do with our refugees and leaders.
Is Nilufer Maki from Austin, who's traveled from Austin to here just for to be here and present her case. She is, as you know, she is supporting in Kabul, Afghanistan. And my question to Nilufer would be that the Charter of the UN stands for the dignity of human person, equal rights of men and women. And we know that she's a member of the NRF. So NRF is the Women's National Resistance Fund. So how Women's National Resistance Fund strives to create equal rights for women and men.
First of all, hello everybody. Before I am a member of National Resistance Fund, I am a human rights activist. And I try my best to be every single day. The National Resistance Front is the only group who are standing against what is happening in Afghanistan. And we are the form of the women working with our brothers together. So this being forced to leave your home and go to the country unknown, with unknown language, with all the problem that my sisters just said, that how much we go through pain, country to country, to be in a safe place. We're trying to make home safe. We're trying to work together so our people don't go through those pain that we have been. Legally and illegally leave country and go home to find safety. We are working as I don't know if everyone knows that in Afghanistan right now there is no human right. I mean, if you not just women right, there is no human right. Young youths, men and women, they don't see any future for themselves. And me personally, I am on my phone until 3, 4 in the morning, even talking to these people inside Afghanistan, and they're feeling they are devastated. They're feeling hopeless. They have a lot to say, and they have no one to listen. So they reach out. They talk. We text. We call. I talk to them even like 3, 4 in the morning until they calm them and make them hopeful, and so they don't commit suicide. Some young kids call, 12, 13 years old calls, that they are forced to be married because they don't go to secondary school. But we give them hope, or we send them links to them that we have a homeschool, and we have a lots of volunteer all over the world who give their time and teach them, boys and girls, because people of Afghanistan, they don't want the education from such a group who are calling themselves government, but people don't call them government. So we create a panel for our youth to feel safe, to feel, sorry, it's very hard to speak about my country because we've been to just same, everyone else in the world is going to injustice in their country. So we're trying to make a panel, a safe panel, a panel that they can at least have a ray of light in their dark world right now. And we are creating classes, even to college classes. We have doctors, engineers, we have educators, we have professors, teachers all over the world that they are from Afghanistan, and they went through a lot to be there and get there. And they helping those people so they don't have to leave home and stay a little bit longer until our brothers do the other job to keep to clean up the country from those darkness and bring the light back, so at least we all can go back home. I had a person told me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Afghanistan. He said, you must be very grateful that you're safe here. I said, yes, I am thankful, but I don't feel grateful because how do you feel grateful? Imagine a ship wreck and your family is in there and you reach to the shore, but your family is drowning and holding in something just go and you can't do nothing about it. So we're trying to build that ship back. We're trying to get to that ship and we get all together back. This is what we do. We're trying to not let that ship sink, which is home. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Thanks so very much.
everyone. I'm glad you are here finally, so we love to hear from you. The Interfaith Ministries is really a fantastic organization. It's very, I don't know of anyone that bridges the gap between religions. There's almost religions have historically built a wall around themselves, just their membership. And there's only one religion I know that it just breaks that wall away and invites everybody in. My question for Parvina would be that how do interfaith ministries among the refugees population respond to the global problem? The global problem be that the basis of religious violence is religious prejudice.
Good afternoon, everybody. Firstly, I would like to thank Zed and Nilofer for sharing their lived experiences. I think that takes a lot of courage, and I do want to recognize and thank them for sharing that. And I also want to thank the other panelists for sharing their side of working really on the ground here in Houston. And thanks for the opportunity to kind of shed some light on what we at Interfaith Ministries for Greater Houston do here in Houston. So Interfaith Ministries for Greater Houston for over 50 years has worked in the community to support and meet the needs of people who are in need within the Houston community. And that's mainly been through our different programs. So our four main programs are the Interfaith Relations and Community Partnership, Refugee Services, then we have the Meals on Wheels program, and then the Volunteer Houston program. So the Interfaith Relations and Community Partnership program actually go out in the community and work with faith-based institutions and individuals and collaborate with them to engage in dialogue and education. And why I kind of emphasize on this as I answer your question about refugee services is I represent Refugee Services, so the Community Engagement Program Manager at Refugee Services. But the community, the Houston community, is a very integral part of how we work alongside families and individuals that arrive here to unpack and address some of the issues that is happening globally and also address the trauma that individuals and families are coming here with. So our Interfaith Relations and Community Partnership program helps with, really engaging faith-based, and bringing diverse faiths together and engaging in dialogue and collaboration, which then we at Refugee Services work with and alongside the community to help to support refugee families integrate better in Houston. Now, how do we do that, right? We have case management programs that help meet the basic needs of families. So our case managers, right, from with the help of the community, do airport pickups, right? Welcome families at the airport. Go to their homes, give a home orientation, help with a hot meal on the first day of arrival, etc. So from there on, right, our very integral case managers are an integral part of refugee families. And as families start meeting and getting to know some of their day-to-day activities and start feeling comfortable, the community engagement program, through different programming activities, unpack the social and cultural barriers that they might encounter in living in the US. And a very important part of all of this is so their journey has already begun, and while they might be in what we might call as destination, this might not necessarily be a destination. And what comes along this journey, it's just the beginning of the journey right here, right? And what comes along with this is a load of trauma, as we have already heard, and a load of mistrust. So the key component of unpacking social and cultural barriers is unpacking mistrust, right? And that's where the work starts. So it's about unpacking mistrust and then slowly building trust. And we do that through collaboration with the larger Houston community, bringing them in to welcome refugee families, with supporting women, men, and youth in their day-to-day needs. We do that through dialogue, right? Dialogue. And when I say dialogue, it's dialogue with the community and dialogue with the families that we serve. And how does that dialogue happen? It happens through our focus groups. So we have women's empowerment groups, we have men's support groups, we have youth art programs, which help us provide and hold spaces for individuals to really talk about their lived experiences and also share their experience and address issues of trauma that might have been caused due to religious persecution or others. And the community members who support as volunteers in these program activities or who support the families help us bridge that gap also, right? So there is constant collaboration and constant dialogue that happens there. And with that collaboration and dialogue comes education, right? It can be something as simple as, a community member showing a family how to check their mails, right? And what comes in the mails, maybe 90% junk mails is what we receive, right? In addition to benefit mails, right? So those three components, that is collaboration, dialogue, and education, are at our core, and we do that alongside community. So we are able to serve the number of families or individuals that we are currently serving only because of the Houston community. So I would urge each one of you to learn more about how you can work alongside families or individuals that arrive here. And we are happy to answer any questions and really appreciate each one of your support in this journey. Thank you.
Dr. Bhagat, do you have any concluding comments? All I can add to wonderful comments we heard from the panelists here today is to urge you not to treat the subject of human rights as an intellectual exercise, because it doesn't work. I have an example for you. Some 400 years ago, the early settlers in the United States, those days, America, brought almost 30 million Africans in chains as slaves to these shores. Now, almost 200 years later, slavery abolished. And for the past 200 years, the nation has been struggling to learn to love their African American neighbor. It's a serious still problem, so you can imagine 200 years? What does it take? And I'm going to say what it takes to fix that problem. What it takes to recognize each other as human beings. And that takes love and commitment and faith. Without that, another 200 years in this land, we will still have the problem of whites and blacks not necessarily loving one another. We have come a long way. I have African American friends and colleagues who are wonderful white friends and colleagues and vice versa, but it's not universal. In many parts of our cities, if you go, you will see that's not the case. So what I'm going to leave you with is the whole issue of human rights that you heard from me and our wonderful panelists here. Don't treat it as an intellectual exercise is not going to work. Take it as a matter of faith, as a matter of belief in mankind being one. That's the only way it's going to work. Not only here, everywhere else in the world. All the problems we have in the world, if you get to the root cause of it, is because we don't accept each other's equality and humanity. That's at the end is the root cause. I said something wrong today. I said we cannot tackle the root causes of refugees. Now I would like to complete that sentence by saying that we cannot tackle the root cause of it by the means we have pursued so far. Through legislation. Do you know how many equal opportunities legislations we have had in the US? Friends, it doesn't work. We have to tackle this as a matter of accepting the oneness of mankind. So that my neighbor, regardless of race, color, whatever, will be just like myself. If you accept that, there's no problem. And there are people in the world who have accepted that principle, and they don't have, not only they don't have issues with race, color, religion, or whatever, but actually they celebrate that diversity. They love that diversity. And I would like to offer them just as the parting comments for you. Thank you very much.
Before we end this program, I would like to mention that you see tables that are around the room, and there are literature on this table and sometimes you see people behind them. These are the people who basically you see them on the stage. They represent the same causes and the same institutions. They would love to have your support. They would like to be volunteer for them, help them in their causes. So please take the time, go there, talk to them, sign up, take literature, and familiarize yourself with the services that are available in the city. So at this time, I would like to thank the panel. I think they have been wonderful. And, we have 2 minutes